Hello, we're in. Welcome to Misty Mountain Streaming, people. I'm the D&D wannabe. My name is Rob. Thank you for joining us again on a Friday. As always, somebody in the chat let us know how we looking and sounding. I have new lights pointing at me that I brought from home for Elden Ring so that the green screen that's behind this blue screen will work properly. Looking forward to that. But before that, we have something a little rarer. We have a guest. Or I am a guest. I'm still not sure exactly how it works.
I think we're cross guests.
Cross
I'm
guests.
a guest on Misty Mountain.
Not-
You're a guest on Wasteland.
Not cross-dressed.
Not cross-dressed.
Cross-guest. Yes, very important distinction.
Very, very important.
It would be my first time either way.
It would not be my first time cross-dressed.
I believe that. Since I'm not a... I think that's much more prevalent in the cosplay and modeling world than it is in the Dungeon Master world.
Well, I used to get paid to be a pirate and like play different pirates and stuff like that.
You've had so many cool jobs.
I've had some really I've led a very interesting life, but I don't want to talk about my life. I want to talk about you.
Fair enough. That makes one of us, but I'm willing to talk. If that's anything Dungeon Masters do is talk, whether about themselves or otherwise.
Why is that the case? Why do you all constantly feel the need to like just info dump?
Me or Dungeon Masters in general?
Dungeon Masters in general. It's always this like, here's a list of everything that I need to get out all at once. Bleh.
Normally I think it's because we have made a thing and we made it for you and we are excited about it and want you to share in that excitement. Oh no, you went very grainy on my screen. She's still there, everyone. I'm pretty sure she's still there.
I'm here.
You didn't just go like grainy, you went 8-bit.
It's unfortunately, I can honestly say that is because there is a monopoly on my internet company where I live. So we don't get the best anything because we don't live in super fancy land.
I hope it's going better on your end. By the way, what is your end? Who are you? Why are you here?
Me?
Yeah, I know you're on your channel, but anyone who might come to mine needs to know.
No, we're cross streaming today.
That's right.
I am WastelandGirl, also known as Misfit. I hail from the mighty swamplands of Florida. And
The mighty swamplands.
I've been working and building an a TTRPG for my crazy wasteland world that lives in my head.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things. Everything is based around the swamplands of Florida and the rat cult of the mighty rat. That's not an algorithm for anything.
The mighty rat and the mighty swamps of the mighty state of Florida. That is not an adjective I've heard associated with Florida. Crazy sometimes, unhinged, unstable.
You know, we got two things. We got Florida Man and we got meth. And D&D. We got a lot of D&D here.
Jealous. There's so little D&D in Alabama.
Oh, you're in Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
You're just up the road from me.
I'm just up a big bumpy road.
Well, like, there's an event, there's a post-apocalyptic, blah, blah, blah. I can't talk today.
You're doing great.
Y'all. Too much coffee. That I go to every year that's in Alabama. It's actually kind of funny. It's only like a 10-hour drive for us.
Whereabouts in Alabama?
Northern Alabama, so like the
Huntsville area?
something like that.
Oh, wow.
Don't know where Aftermath is. I know it's around a bunch of cows.
That sadly narrows it down so little.
Fair.
Me,
Fair.
we don't all live in the same exact place, but me and my brother and my other brother and my mother and all uncles and aunts and parents on my mom's side all live in what used to be cow pastures. We have to move the cows to find places for humans to live, if that tells you anything. Yeah.
Damn.
Where's the beef? Alabama. Don't let Arby's tell you different.
In Florida, there's an awkward. Well, we actually have more dairy cows than beef cows, but yeah, we're big on our dairy cows for whatever reason.
Let's see. We're gonna start talking about D&D here in a minute.
Right now,
Let me go ahead and say hello to some people who followed us since the last stream. I think I left off with that fangirl cosplays last time. So we have Lich Doc. I'm assuming that's a doctor, not a document. I like thinking of a Lich Doc in that sense a little better. LED&D, good friend, ambassador for Misty Mountain Gaming, finally gave us a follow. I was teasing her about it on Discord. Thank you for following through, and sorry if I ruffled feathers. Diggy Squirrel is my uncle, and I still make fun of that username. Thank you for the follow, as well as Tritty81 and Small Warrior 1258. Thank you guys all for giving us the follow. It means a lot, and it helps us rise through the ranks of obscurity, which we do hate so to be in. Speaking of which, I think I have a command set up.
I'm annoyed with my commands.
Not that one. Yep, there we go. In our chat, by the way, if anyone hasn't given WastelandGirl a follow, is her Twitch channel. You can click a link and go see what she gets up to. What do you get up to over there most days?
Most of the time, it's me being antisocial and painting minis or painting. Sometimes I work on my wasteland costuming stuff. But really, it's just a lot of me painting and talking about D&D. A lot of D&D.
I really should have linked your Instagram so people could see how cool your stuff is, but I only am trying to get you followers on Twitch tonight, apparently.
It's okay. I appreciate it all the same.
Hey, first time chat from Random Asian Productions.
Random's a good friend of mine. I love Random.
Hey, thanks for joining. And they're watching my stream. Are they? I hope they're watching both of our streams if they're a good friend of yours.
Normally, yes. Pretty good about that.
And your video is back to a good quality. Hooray, people can see your face.
I try to be pretty sometimes.
I've just given up at this point. I'm just
Most of the time, I am antisocial D&D nerd.
My recent project in the past couple of weeks has been to hide as much of my face as possible. This is as much has been hidden. Thank you. It's getting like salt and pepper here, which is fine. I just kind of wish it would make up its mind on either just let's go ahead and get to gray fox status or let's just stay brown for a little longer. I hate the in-between. But thank you. Appreciate that. Rifle Stud has his big old beard, and I'm not quite trying to go there, but I thought to myself, this is a unique time in my life where nobody cares what I look like. I'm no longer married. I don't have a lot of social engagements. I hardly have been out in the past couple of years because of COVID. So if I'm going to try and do something wacky with my appearance, now's the time. Dancer, what up? Hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Some of my folks turning out. If you missed the intro, let's see if I can get the directions right. I did not. That's Misfit. Her Twitch channel is above in the chat, and we're about to chat some D&D, that thing that people seem to like around here.
That's weird.
That people like D&D?
People enjoy D&D. I mean, to be entirely honest, I've been playing D&D since I was in high school. I was in D&D club in high school. I was that person.
I neither went to high school, nor did I manage to get into D&D until years after college. But I'm making up for lost time as much as possible.
See, that's okay. As long as you enjoy it and appreciate it, that's what matters.
Hey, someone do tell me, now that I have people in the chat, how Misfit is sounding and how I'm sounding, and if the music that I'm playing in the background is too loud. Just give me a little update if you want anything changed, because it's all here for you and your benefit, and I want to make sure you're happy.
I will just randomly blah 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 blah
Blah, blah, blah.
blah.
I see you speak NPC. That's great.
Do. I've never not once in my life DM'd a game.
Oh.
But not once. I am a forever player. I am one of those people.
It is something I think that everybody should try. I'm not guilt tripping. I'm not saying you have to do it tomorrow, but I think for many reasons, take your pick of reasons, that people could give it a stab.
Give it a try. Like I've helped build worlds with DMs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been like the sounding board for a lot of people, on like creating these big, massive, elaborate worlds and whatnot. But like I've never like stepped behind the screen and actually like DM.
Right. Folks are saying you're a little quiet, so
Quiet.
I'm gonna try.
You might be talking quiet too.
No, it's fine. For whatever reason, I have the solution. All right. You're not gonna get to enjoy her face for a second, and then I'm gonna turn her up.
That's okay. We're learning new things today, and that's the important part.
All right. So I'm going to hit. Yep.
Is that better?
Hang on. There it is. Oh my, I just saw what everyone on my end is seeing, and I apologize.
Oh, what are they saying on your end?
There we go. Just like my full face, and then like half of my face even closer. Now there are two of me, Rob. Okay, let's talk about that real quick. There is another guy, Rifle Stud, in our community who is my age, about my size, has a beard, named Rob, and we just wears the same clothes as me about half the time, likes the same stuff I do, is about to be running D&D on this channel, and it's getting a little freaky, okay? And also, I have a twin brother who is exactly like me in almost every way, except he's skinnier and married with kids, and there's already too many of me. I'm sorry that there was another one even for a moment. Yes, Randomation Productions, it was terrifying. I am so sorry to subject you through this. This was not intended to be a horror stream. We're trying.
Something always goes wrong on my end.
Okay, hopefully, I turned her up by another 50%. Hopefully that does better. If not, I'll
just yell. I'll just come and like yell.
If not that, it's easier for me to turn myself down, and then maybe we'll balance out.
Yeah, I don't have anything that allows me to like really adjust my audio too much, which is the unfortunate part of my setup. That's the next bit that I'm gonna work on, is getting better sound.
I was told to bring water, so I have a few bottles handy.
Because we drink lots of water on this channel.
I also drink lots on my channel.
That's good.
Not so much water.
Water's important.
Not so much water, but...
Not so much water. See, I don't drink. I don't partake in the alcohol.
You're better for it, I'm sure. I think that's one of the reasons my brother is skinnier than me.
Probably. Probably.
So you were the person who maybe almost a month ago now was talking with different people in your community, which I am one of those guys, about D&D. And I said yes, like a chump. And so here I am, and I don't want to...
Being my second chump. My first chump was actually one of the people that plays in my Sky Pirates game.
Mm-hmm.
So she was my first interviewee or interviewer. Is that which one is it?
Interviewed? Interviewee?
Yeah, something like
Guinea
that.
pig?
Yeah, she was my guinea pig, but I love Dizzy. She actually does a lot of D&D art. She's done characters. Um, she's freaking amazing. So, highly recommend checking her out.
I've got one of those good D&D friends that's good with the arts and stuff.
Good with the art.
Yeah, there's an enormous crossover between artistically talented people and D&D players that I'm just not in that Venn diagram whatsoever.
I'm not either. Other than the costumes, like I can create costumes, so that's where I got my crossover.
Occasional ha-has and in storytelling is about as far as I get. I made my first arts and crafts project in like 15 years is
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so ready to see this.
is this thing.
Oh, look at you go! That thing's horrifying.
Yeah, right?
It's so creepy.
You can't hear me through it at all.
No, you sound super muffled.
Yeah. I actually made this because I'm about to be a player on my own channel because the aforementioned Rob is going to run The Wild Beyond the Witchlight for us. And my character has a bit of a disability, and...
Well, what's your character's disability?
I suppose I'll drop it here. He can't smile.
Is he Fey touched?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
But as an element of what Rob wants to do, he can't smile. But he wants other people to smile, and he realizes his lack of smiling is off-putting. So he tries to put people at ease with a little arts and crafts project, and probably fails terribly, much like I did making this thing. But I don't mind it looking super janky, because I don't imagine him as being terribly talented either. So it fits.
Tell us more about this character.
Oh, let's see. I want to save some surprises for my own stuff. We're starting at level 1. He'll be a bard. He is a satyr, the first satyr I've played. I haven't been a player since satyrs were a thing in 5e.
Is this something you've always wanted to play?
I've always thought they were cool. Like, the first homebrew world that I made 8 years ago featured satyrs heavily in the world history, and they were protagonists and antagonists aside from the players in the world. So I really like satyrs, and I think I have the Chronicles of Narnia to thank for that, even though that's technically a faun, and Tumnus was a bitch. But in general, I liked them. He's very nice. He's a very nice bitch, but he's a bitch.
Is it because he betrays them?
Yeah. Edmund had...
Jumpman.
He does, and so does stinking Edmund, but it takes him 3 books, and Tumnus didn't get 3 books.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
That was my book series growing up, because I, growing up in Alabama, and this is one of the reasons I don't have a lot of friends that play D&D until now, and very few that are local, is because of the satanic panic that was going through the Bible Belt and turning everybody against D&D. So that same wave also said, Pokemon isn't a great thing to be into. Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Aren't great things to be into. You shouldn't let your kids read the Harry Potter books and stuff like that. So Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings were my 2 approved gateway drugs into fantasy fiction.
Gateway drug.
So I latched on to those 2, buddy. Best I could.
Gateway magic.
This wasn't intended as a horror stream, says Random Age. No, it wasn't. But here we are.
Sometimes it gets a little spooky with me. I'm sorry. I have this tendency to bring out the spook factor.
Well, I don't want to take away from your show, your idea of what you wanted to get done today. So I will.
Totally just rolling with it.
Okay.
I told you I was like, this is a casual thing.
Relax. Super cash. I still put on deodorant to be on camera. And when
that's just good hygiene. I also brushed my teeth.
I'm spoiling that a little bit for myself right now, but that's okay.
Also, I have one really big chat rule for my chat,
Mm-hmm.
and thank you, Lawless Vox, for following that rule of letting me know that you're lurking. I appreciate that.
Good rule.
Yeah, it's my one thing. I like, just tell me hi. Just let me know that you're here.
See, fear, you worship the devil. Reality, making an overdramatic bard speech.
Don't call me out like that.
When it comes to being a bard, is there such thing as being overdramatic? I need a Calculon bard from Futurama. Do you watch that show?
No, Futurama's one of my favorite shows.
I've mastered the dramatic. Pause!
That's going to be fun. In fact, how would you say that your experience as a DM has affected your playing style?
It's more difficult to say because of how I kind of have the opposite problem of you, that I'm traditionally the dungeon master. I get to play rarely enough that I'm not perfectly sure if this is just how I play or that being a dungeon master has affected me specifically, if that makes any sense. I would say that even when I am playing, I'm always thinking as the dungeon master, and I'm trying to think for the dungeon master a little bit. Like, you would think when I get to play, like, I might sit back and relax, and this is my chance to take a break, and I just get to, sip on something out of a coconut. But no, my brain is very busy as a player, trying to think, did the dungeon master want us to interact with that? Is that an NPC that has a story, or is that an NPC that we kind of need to ignore a little bit because they're not important and they're not planned and we're making this uncomfortable? Does the dungeon master need a little help bringing this person into the story? Should I ask them how they're doing or what they think about what was just said? Can I lean over and help somebody pick out their spell for the next round before their turn in combat comes up? Aside from stuff like that, like trying to be a very considerate player and specifically considerate of the DM, who a lot of people might not be considerate of all the time, I think it makes me a button pusher, if that makes any sense. If
totally.
you grew up in the same era of Dexter's Lab with me on Cartoon Network.
Yes.
And the DD always coming into just every red button needs to be pushed. And my goal is to make adventure happen. And my fear is to miss out on adventure by focusing on the wrong thing or by not interacting with the thing. So if you drop something that smells of side quest to me, I'm going for it. We're interacting with that. And it's like anything that you might have worked on, I don't want to let slip. I think is probably the biggest thing.
I actually happen to be the same way, but I think that's more because I am big on world exploring.
Yeah.
Like, give me a cool world. I'm gonna find all the little hidden doors and stuff. So that's awesome.
When I run, I really try and help my players develop interesting, complex NPCs that have wants and cares and goals and hopes and dreams and ties to things in this world, things that they would desperately care about. And I don't do that so much for myself when I am being a player, because I want my character to be shaped by the world. I want them to find reasons to care about the story rather than having the story catered to them, because that puts work on the dungeon master a little bit, and I don't always know that it's work that they're willing to spend. I would rather get my character excited about what they have prepared. And that's not at all the game that I want to run. I want my games to be very focused on the players and the things that are important to the players. But when I play, I just want it to be about the cool stuff the dungeon master made and to see as much of it as possible. So I think I'm like you in that regard. I like exploring, I like social interaction. I don't really care about combat unless it's taking me somewhere new or I'm discovering something different.
Same way. Or I get to use a new ability.
Or that.
Whenever like leveling happens and I get a new thing, I'm like, oh, give me combat, give me combat, give me combat. I want to use the new thing. And that's about it. That's the only
Yeah.
thing I really care.
And then the sparkle wears off of that particular new toy. It's like, okay, we've done that. Now what?
Well,
new thing. Give me a new thing.
We're gonna go explore more.
Yeah. That's nice. That's the attitude I enjoy in the players, is because the next thing I have to surprise you about what you think you know, or the truths that you hold to be self-evident, is around the next corner. So I need you to go around that next corner so the story can continue.
Mm-hmm. So here's something that I do, and I'm, as a DM, I want to know kind of your perspective on it.
Okay.
So with the Sky Pirates game that I'm in, I have started asking the other players like intense character questions. So like about their morality and, you know, how they feel about authority and stuff like that. Do you as a DM do that, or have you done that before? And how do you feel, how have you used that information to present different experiences for your players?
I sincerely beg your pardon. Would you start that question one more time? Because I lost a little of the beginning of it.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm using something as a DM instead of as a player, and what was the thing?
So I ask character questions about like morality or how they feel about authority. Do you as a DM do that?
Yes. And this is information I get. Well, I mean, I won't share one player's answers with another player. I think that it should probably become evident. I think if you know a person for an extended period of time, you could make some educated guesses as to these things. And if you are playing a D&D campaign week after week, every other week after every other week, then you can tell some stuff, and your motivation should become clear by your actions. If you are role-playing well. And consistently, which is sometimes the trick. Because stuff will happen to you in real life, and you will come to the game with different emotions within you, and it might affect the way that you roleplay your character. And sometimes you just need some catharsis by continuing to bludgeon that dead at work. But yes, actually, this ties a little bit into something that I think you had kind of discussed with me beforehand, and I'm not sure that I fully gave this answer then, that I don't like alignment.
Yes, I remember I did want to ask you about that. I find that fascinating because I grew up in an era where alignment was everything.
Oh yeah, it was so important and had like very specific mechanical benefits and detriments in previous editions of the game that 5th edition doesn't care about. And I came into the hobby with 5th edition. Like, when the starter set dropped in 2014, that month, a friend brought it to a party, and I was already pretty drunk, and I just got drunker. And we played in my living room at my dining room table, and I remember none of that game.
Oh, shit.
None of it. But I remembered that I had played. And so I called him, when my head stopped killing me, and said, because I was at a worse time of my life at that point. I drank for different reasons and in different amounts. So I called him up and said, hey, I think we played D&D. Can we do that again? And we did, and he ran for a short amount of time until I realized that he was running out of desperation and did not really want to run a game. He was just so desperate to play that he was willing to run. And so I said, hey, why don't I give you a break for a couple of weeks and I'll try running something with the 5 sessions of player experience that I have. and we just started having fun with that. We never went back. And I've been the DM for those guys ever since. Some of them are still in the MMG community. Some of them have been on this channel, and everyone in that game was in my wedding back when I had it. But since alignment was not very important in 5th edition, I don't particularly care about it. What I do care about are those 4 little blanks in the top right-hand corner of your character sheet: personality traits, bonds, ideals, and flaws. Specifically the ideal.
Okay.
The reason being, yes, I'd love to. Will I elaborate?
You're a DM. I know you like talking.
Ooh, hang on. First time chat from Tape Player. Mood, actually making a homebrew right now due to 2 years of failed campaigns. Oh, I'm sorry about the failed campaigns, but excited that we have a new homebrew campaign in the works. New Dungeon Master, or just new to this homebrew experience? I'm curious. And I'll come back for that answer in a minute, so I can continue to try and entertain people. The reason that I care about the ideal so much is because I think that the most important thing to you can probably be distilled into a single sentence. And while it has changed over the course of my life, I believe that has been true in real life for us. Maybe your ideal is that blood is thicker than water, and friends may come and go, but family is forever, and whatever you got to do to take care of family, you're going to take care of family, and you're going to put them first, even before yourself. Mm-hmm. Maybe your ideal is that freedom is the most important thing, and that you don't want ever to be told what to do by anyone in any regard ever, and you think that no one should have that right over anyone else. Maybe you think that communication is the most important thing, and if everyone could just talk about everything, then the world's problems would go away. Whether or not you're right about your belief, what you hold to be valuable should be able to be distilled in that sentence. And I think that in pursuit of your beliefs, you may do things that are chaotic good or neutral evil at times. And what I want from my characters is consistency and growth. And I think that it's interesting to watch the corruption of a chaotic good character, or a lawful good character becoming a neutral evil character, all the while uncompromisingly trying to defend what is most important to them. Or the things that they are willing to compromise or sacrifice to hold true to their beliefs. So, yeah, I want to know about your motivations. I want to know about your goals. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what you care about. I want to know your character's passions and hates and likes and dislikes. As much of that as you are willing to give me, I will try and use. If you feel strongly about something, or you love something, or you hate something, it's going to wind up in my campaign so that you can interact with it. But it might not if I don't know about it.
Sure. And honestly, I have never actually thought about it like that, because I came from an era where alignments were super important.
Mm-hmm.
So, that you actually have given me a lot to think about with that. That's really cool. Thank you for broadening a perspective here. We're doing good.
I mean, and that also comes from, one of the reasons I DM is because I grow bored playing the same character week to week to week to week. But one of the ways that can be alleviated, and I can enjoy being a player, is if that character undergoes growth. And then whether or not they have the same name or the same class, or deal 2d6 or 3d6 sneak attack damage, they are growing and changing, and I have something new to roleplay. I have been playing in a game for 4 years now that I'm probably going to have to say goodbye to because of work commitments and things, where I started playing as a lawful good scout halfling rogue for the Lord's Alliance. He was an army boy.
Interesting.
And he goes off into the jungle, buggers off for a year and a half, and winds up becoming a Yuan-Ti by accident, and worships Dendar the Night Serpent, who is not as bad as everybody says she is. She's really just trying to be free and fulfill her destiny of eating the sun. Yeah, it'll probably be inconvenient for people, but it's the natural world order of things. And he is a radically different dude as a low-leveled cleric, along with all of his rogue levels of Dindar. He's not even the same race I began the game as. Talk about character development.
That's cool.
He is fun to play.
Character development. I do agree with you on the if I play in a game and I don't experience character growth in any way, shape, or form, I get really bored with it, and I'm like,
yeah. And I like the idea that character growth can move you along the alignment chart, and you're still playing the same character, and then what they believe is still what they believe, or maybe it's not. Your ideal can change, or you can add a new one to the list. That's fine. I just want there to be a reason for it, and I want it to be consistent with what you've shown me over the course of the sessions before. If you want to play a different character who believes different things, I get that. We'll talk about it. We'll let you change. But if you want to keep playing the same guy, I don't want them to be the same guy. Much like I don't want to play them. Yeah.
Alchemist said, I've switched races from one character from Wood Elf to Succubus. That is a hell of a switch. Wow.
You said your Succubus is a switch?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I misheard.
Alchemist was saying that she's switched from a Wood Elf to a Succubus.
Oh.
That is a big switch.
It's relationship goals. Tape Player says, new Dungeon Master, been playing as a player for a while and new to homebrewing. I started my Dungeon Master career with homebrew, and I'll tell you why. Because I didn't want to run in another setting that someone knew better than me, and I didn't want to be corrected ever.
DM thing? I know so many DMs that do that!
Yeah?
Like, every DM that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, my first game was a homebrew. And I'm like, why? Why?
I mean, I love Star Wars. I love Dragon Age. I love Lord of the Rings. And I have spent a lot of time learning Dungeons and Dragons, and I know the rules pretty dang well. But the reason that it's a creative outlet for me is that I get to make stuff up. If I don't get to make stuff up, it's not as fun for me. And also, the reason I'm terrified to run in very well-known properties like Star Wars, because I don't want to go to Tatooine and tell you something about Tatooine and have someone say, actually, the moisture farming on Tatooine is not done that way, and it's not done on that side, and did you forget that there were two suns? There are actually two suns on Tatooine. You can't say the sun in the highest sky. Which one is it? And then they'll name the two suns, and I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Those people. I know we've all had those people. I know we've had, like, the meta gamers, or the power gamers, or, how do you deal, what tools for new DMs can you offer to, like, dealing with that kind of person?
I'm going to turn myself down a little bit. Maybe that will help. Tape Player's still saying that you're a little quiet. Hopefully you can turn us both up and hear her better. If not, I'm going to take her face away again, and nobody wants that. Let me know if that works for you. Hopefully we're a little more balanced. You know what? Let me turn up the desktop audio. That will probably help. Can you talk for me again? Say anything before I answer your question?
Blah, 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 blah.
Let's crank you
Blah, blah,
almost
blah.
all the way up. And that will...
Blah, blah, blah.
We're a little more balanced now. Hopefully that'll work. I will answer that question. My chat is getting a little active real quick. I don't know if you're the only one. You can't really hear either of us. Ugh. Okay, let me go over here. I'm turning her all the way up. I cannot make her louder than she is about to be. So I hope it works. People do that? Yes. Yes, Tape Player, people do that. Not everybody.
All the time. Games like that are rough. People like that are rough. For me, I have a hard time handling it. Like, it puts me on edge. So I can only imagine from a DM's perspective.
Robin has been that nerd sometimes to do the actually. I've occasionally been that nerd. I try not to correct people with a desire to correct them. I think that's important. If there is a desire to teach, that is different than a desire to be right. And that spirit is very important when you're approaching someone with something that they have accidentally made a mistake on.
That's fair.
Random Agent Productions. If you ever talk to a know-it-all nerd, we often do that, identifying as a know-it-all nerd, apparently. It's a compulsive issue. They made a game show about it on College Humor that's actually pretty damn funny. It's literally called Actually.
Nerd.
What up, nerds? Rifle Stud, how'd it going? The time is after the session, not during. I agree.
Oh,
but
yes. Big time agree.
When I was starting DMing, I did not know this. And I was terrified of this. And I shouldn't have been, especially with the group that I was playing with. And I probably shouldn't be now, but now I just like running homebrew stuff. Doesn't matter if I'm confident or comfortable. I just wouldn't be as happy running something that wasn't mine. Okay. You asked me a question, and it was about handling problem players.
Yeah. Everyone has had those players, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to give you an honest answer, and it may not be a super helpful one, but I'm going to give you an honest answer.
I would rather have honesty than anything else.
Good. I'm going to take a dramatic sip of water.
Oh, water time! Everybody drink water.
Rob! Stop it. Go change. I'm on camera. I can't do it. Go change. When it comes to players who are problematic in some way, maybe they're the actually people. Maybe they're the people who kind of just want to see your world burn. So maybe they're the kind of people who are problematic with the other players at the table. Those are my least favorite. Maybe they're confrontational. Maybe they're rules lawyers. Maybe they're not punctual. Maybe they're harassing other people at the table, out of character or in character. They're both bad. I am not the sort of dungeon master that thinks that I need to get back at those people.
Good.
I'm not the kind of dungeon master who thinks that I can fix those people.
Also good.
I'm the kind of dungeon master who, much like the people coming to my table to play, is here to have a good time. I'm an adult with a limited amount of free time on my hands to spend on the things that I enjoy. And I am not going to spend that time on people who don't deserve it. And I expect that the people who are coming to my table are adults who I can speak to plainly and say, hey, what you're doing is not conducive to fun, or it crosses a line, or people are uncomfortable with it, whether it's me or not, and we only have two options here. We can correct that problematic behavior, or you don't have to play D&D with me. And we can still be friends. We can go out and get beers. We can play Halo Infinite together. We can take part in any of a number of pastimes that we both enjoy. But we're not going to play D&D together. And if you aren't fine with that, maybe we do have a problem. But you are spoiling my or someone else's fun with this behavior, and it's possible that you didn't know that, and maybe this is something that we can work on, and but it needs to stop.
Fair.
Yeah, I do not entertain people, and I don't mean like entertain as in amuse. I mean entertain as in I do not suffer people who are being problematic, especially intentionally. So I don't have tips to tell you, this is how you correct that behavior. This is how you stop that person from being a dick in your game. My advice is get the dick out of your game.
Honestly, that's great advice. I'm that way. I've given that advice many a time because like I don't have time or patience. Like I'm an adult. I run my own business. I don't want to. I don't like. I get fair amounts of free time, so dealing with that's not fun. And I've left many a game because of it. So like, I'm on the same page with you, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm recently onto TikTok, and there's people saying next time
Oh, you
your
on TikToks.
next time your players do this to them. That'll show them. That'll serve them right. No,
Why?
they're not the players for you. You're not the dungeon master for them. Especially these days. Like, I get it. Back when you started playing and you were playing in high school and you were going to a high school, you didn't have the means to get out and find another group. You didn't have access to virtual tabletops where you could play with people in Canada if you wanted to. You were kind of stuck with those people and you had to get along or you didn't play. Nobody is in that situation anymore.
No, and that's something I love about the Misty Mountain Discord is that you have a looking for player or looking for group.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
I was the person who made that. I will do the self pat for that one. It hasn't seen a lot of use yet, but the community is growing. Yeah?
Yeah, we actually had a player join our Sky Pirates game.
Who was it?
Dragonborn Cleric?
Yeah, cool. They were really excited to join up. I didn't know that you guys actually sealed the deal there. Awesome.
Oh, he's playing a really fun character. Yeah, I don't know how to fix my volume, to be entirely honest with you.
I don't know either, because they're coming through my desktop audio, and your levels are pretty much equal with mine, and I hear you fine, so if I'm hearing you fine, I don't know how they're not. But do you have a gain knob on your microphone that you can turn up a little?
I have it turned all the way up.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Does your mic, like, bend into the face a little, or no? It's pretty much where it's at? Okay.
Yeah, it's, like, focused.
Guys, we're trying. We're trying.
We're trying. I'm sorry. I'll just yell.
Let's see. A good session 0 probably helps with a lot. Helps a lot with dicks in games. Random Asian Discord. Hey, Random Asian Discord. Right above where you sent that message, my good friend Nightbot sent a pre-programmed message about a link tree. In that link tree is our link to our Discord. Join up. We'll welcome you there. It's an ever-growing little community of people who like D&D asterisk. Like, also other things. Just totally join. It's open to anybody. And that's how we met. So, why not you? Yes, there is a Discord. It's better than it was earlier. And they're going to the Discord. Perfect. Join up. That's growth, baby. A good session 0 does help. Maybe we'll talk about session 0.
Talk about a session 0. Session 0s I find very important.
We just had our session 0 for the campaign with Rifle Stud on Wednesday. It was the first episode of the new year that we released on the podcast was about session 0. We released it on New Year's Day because it was the very first thing that you got to get done in 2021 is have a good session 0 episode. Yeah, I firmly believe that those are important and that there are things that should be accomplished in there. One of them is being on the same page as people. It's a great time before anyone gets their heart set on anything, before anybody schedules themselves out for the next several weeks, to just know if you're going to fit or not. And you know what? Not every D&D game is for me. Just because you're into D&D and I'm also into D&D does not mean we should play D&D together. And I am okay with that. And I hope you are too. I mean, we probably should. It would be fun. But, like, not necessarily, you know?
Mm-hmm. Preach it.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of my Dungeon Master advice is just, I'm an old fart and I don't want to fuck with it.
I don't want to deal with this shit. I don't got time for it.
But it's stuff that I wish I hadn't tried to fuck with 8 years ago, you know?
Mm-hmm. 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 So, do you have any advice, since homebrewing has come up a couple times now, do you actually have any advice for someone working on homebrewing? I know you have like a podcast or something about it.
I do have a
Um,
podcast or something about it.
but what are some tools or tricks or good places to start that you could offer?
So, my advice at first is there are so many tools right now to help you homebrew, to help you organize your notes. Don't use them. Is my first piece of advice.
Really?
Because they are great for organizing stuff that is already made, or to help you ask questions of things that you have kind of like to develop things. Like World Anvil, I think, is the big one. My brother is building a homebrew world, and he's doing it with World Anvil. And it took him a long-ass time to get off of dwarves. Because it asked him so many questions about the dwarves that he went down a rabbit hole trying to answer every question they asked him about dwarves before he moved on to anything else. When you are homebrewing, you don't want to learn a new platform, you don't want to learn a new tool, you don't want to learn a new software, you just want to create. Use this. No one has to teach you how to use this. It is all in the same place. When you go to look it up later, it's in your handwriting, which is probably practically code to anyone else who tries to read it. So you'll understand it, and no one will be able to understand when you go back. Before I ran my first campaign, I almost filled a graph notebook with notes. And I didn't need to take all that time. I still have that thing. I show it to my players from that campaign whenever they come to visit, if they want to look back through it and see what was going on behind the scenes. I show it to people who want to start homebrewing on their own and see if anything in there will help them. Like, I started with the creation myth of my world and where all the races came from. And I did some of that because it was fairly important to the story that I was telling. But I digress. So many people give you the advice, if you are homebrewing, just start with a town. And that is not bad advice. I would say, rather than starting with a town, because there's so much emphasis these days since the advent of sandbox video games to completely flesh out an area and let your players go anywhere and do anything. You don't need to do that. You're not designing a sandbox video game. You're playing Dungeons and Dragons. I like the Matt Colville piece of advice, which Matt Colville is a great resource if you want to be better at dungeon mastering. I enjoy him as a dungeon master. I'm not sure I would recommend him if you are new to dungeon mastering. But if you think you know a bit and want to get better, Matt Colville's channel is a good place to go. But his recommendation...
to say that name.
Say again?
You're not the first person to actually say that name.
Nah, he's also a fat white dude with a beard. So we're all dungeon masters, really. Or dungeon masters waiting to happen. But his recommendation is start with a dungeon. Start the game by telling your characters, your players, why they are where they are, and say, you are outside of the dungeon. You have tracked the goblins' footprints to this location after they have stolen the blacksmith's daughter. She is inside. There is a reward for her safe return. The entrance looms before you, dark and foreboding. What do you do? And of course, that is all you have been presented with, so what do? You go through the entrance, and you start playing D&D. And all you have to do is plan out 2 or 3, 4 rooms, and decorate 2 to 3 to 4 rooms with enemies, or interest, or loot, or people to talk to, or prisoners. And all you have to name is the blacksmith's daughter, because they're probably going to kill everything else that's in there. And from that point on, you can go on to play D&D, and it buys you a week or two as they go through that little short dungeon to plan more and think about what they left behind in that town, what the name of the town is, who the father and mother of the blacksmith and his wife might be, or etc. You don't need to build out a whole town. You don't have to worry. Like I caught myself on this recently. I'm writing an adventure that I am running on stream. I am writing it to be an adventure for other people to run in their homebrew campaigns, or to somehow weave into their own adventures. And I'm laying out a dungeon, and I'm thinking, okay, well, there needs to be a pantry because the people that lived here needed to eat. And next to the pantry should probably be the kitchen where the food is prepared. And then there needs to be easy access from the kitchen to the place where the food is actually being served. So is there like a servant stair, or is it on the same floor? And I'm like becoming an architect. And I don't want to be an architect. I passed up that life choice. And the fact of the matter is, it's a ruin, and the people that live there aren't there anymore. So I could fill it with whatever I wanted, that some hags, like it's the hag storage room, or this is where they throw the corpses, or this is where they let the carrion grub live, or carrion crawler. Like, it doesn't matter. Just have fun, have an adventure, fill it with interesting things that make you happy, and if you're happy, your players probably are going to be too, because guess what? Fun is infectious. So don't think about it too much.
Totally fair. Solid advice. Very solid advice.
Podcast 2. Yes! Oh, did you find it? Bardic Twinspiration? That's the podcast. It is a dumb name, but it is with me and my twin.
It's fantastic name.
Thank you. We were happy with it until we thought, oh, but people will think we think it's cool to do puns like this. I mean, we do. We just don't want to rub it in people's faces.
Puns are great, though. Why hate on
Aw,
puns?
thank you. Oh, I love the puns. In fact, several adventures that I have run in the past, you know, damn me, none of them are coming to mind. But I will start with a weird turn of phrase, and then I will make a dungeon out of that weird turn of phrase, so that at the end I can say the weird turn of phrase. What? There's got to be some in my phone. I will idly look for those. Cringe is dead. Yell it from the mountaintop. Fair. I occasionally, lately especially, now that my face is visible on the internet, even to as small of a community as this is, though I'm delighted with how quickly it's growing, trying to make sure that I maintain being myself and being genuine and presenting myself warts and all, and not trying to sugarcoat the fact that I'm a dweeb and I'm a dork and I do stuff for cheap laughs sometimes.
Like, that's just, it's important to be yourself. Like, I don't try to be anybody else. I never understood the pretend to be somebody else thing. But I've also lived a very strange, weird life, so...
I have so many D&D notes on my phone, I don't know how I am supposed to find... Here you go, just one of the notes in my phone, because I don't always have my notebook with me, but I always have my phone with me, so Samsung Notes is a repository of dumb D&D ideas, because you gotta get them down as soon as you think of them, or you'll lose them forever.
Rocket Books.
Yeah. I've heard of those.
My DM, who's also my boyfriend.
I was in that situation for a while. I wasn't sleeping with the DM, but one of my players was. I have this that just says World of Pain window shop.
I also use my phone notes quite a bit for like character notes. I have different sheets that are like character notes and stuff because I always have my phone on me.
Yeah.
Everyone has their pocket computer with them now.
It's such a blessing and a curse. But I've told this to some of my friends. At this point, Google could come out tomorrow and admit that they are the Illuminati, and I would say, "Thank you, sir. Can you still save my passwords?" Because I am
right. Right. I don't want to have to take time to remember them.
No.
It's so bad.
Let's see. What else have I got on here? There's one. I just wrote, for some reason, I don't even remember why. Villain runs towards players, begging for asylum and protection from an even greater villain. Just something I thought of sometime that might be fun to do later.
Like so you just write little like intros?
Something like that. I mean, it might find its way into a campaign. I might do a one-shot from it, but imagine that you have been adventuring and questing after a guy for months in the real world. Like 8 sessions or so, chasing after this guy, hunting him down, trying to find out where he is, and then he just runs into your camp one night, alone, with tattered robes and armor, panting, out of breath, and just says, "You have to hide me." Like, the hell would that scene?
I have so many questions. Why do I have to hide you? What's going on?
And that's role-playing, baby! Let's do that! That's the kind of crap I write down. Oh, here we go. I have a tea shop in my world called Capital T, because it's a tea shop that lives in the capital. Yeah. And then I was going to run a one-shot where you have to go to Capital T, and, you know, they're in a spot of bother, and there's something in the basement or whatnot, and I say that you guys have, at the end of the session, we're all done with it, you've beat the bad guys, and you guys have solved the trouble with the Capital T. And I would have been so delighted with myself.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
Said that he does the same thing for producing short films.
Oh, yeah.
Sentences and stuff. So that's super cool. Cross-platform. This shit can be used anywhere. Like taking notes.
I got a laugh out of Random Asian Productions, which, you know, just fuels the fire. Like, I'm going to continue this crap. Hey, Joelle is here. Oh. But the issue has to do with a monster wreaking havoc in a pool. Okay, thank you for the Music Man reference. I hoped someone would go there with me, and I'm delighted that it's you. Love that movie, the old one specifically. I want to make a tea shop in a campaign that sells T-shirts. That makes me happy. I would enjoy that crap. That's what I come to D&D for, is the groaning laughs. That's what I come to most everything for, in all fairness.
Okay, fair. I can respect that. I can totally respect that. Good, bad laughs. Everyone needs them.
So can I turn a question on to you? Let's go. I'm genuinely curious about this. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. And I'm trying to ask this in general, and you're just like the person I'm talking to right now. I plan to ask this to more people in the future. You identified as the forever player.
Yes.
And I want to ask, what is it that has kept you from running a try? I can think of several answers it could be, but I want to know your answer.
Genuinely speaking, I am a very disorganized person. And I know, like, DMs kind of have to have their shit together. Like, at least they need to have their ducks in the same pond. Not like, I got a duck in the bathroom, I got a duck in the pond, I got a duck in the kitchen sink. Like, they are freaking everywhere.
One of them's alive, most of them are rubber. I ate one last night.
One is now riding my dog into battle. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what's going on here. And but yeah, that's I don't have my crap together. I don't really feel like as a player, I have a great grasp on the rules for my character. Like, I know what my character can and cannot do. Oh yeah, no, that's something I really find very important.
That is a marketable skill. If you just tell, like, if you're auditioning for a new dungeon master or just coming to meet someone online and say, hey, by the way, I read my spells before I select them, and I prepare in advance for my turn in initiative.
I do all of that.
Like, there's only... You watch Archer?
Yes.
Krieger coming in saying, "Stop it. I can only get so erect." Like, that's dirty talk to a DM, is I know how my character works.
I know how my character works. I've made sure I've sat down and understood everything that it can do. And if I don't understand something, I will ask. Like, I have no problem after a session. I'll be like, I don't quite understand this. Can you explain it to me? And like,
Bless.
I feel it's important to have good character DM relations. Like, that's what you're supposed to have. It's a team.
Well, I assume that you and your DM have relations, given the nature of your relationship.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I can actually like switch off our relationship and talk to him as my DM and be like, okay, I'm having an issue with this. Or like, a couple months back, I had an issue with another player. It was just like, I was new to the game and he was just treating me like an outsider and like,
You're saying you were new to the game?
Yes.
Who've been playing since high school?
New to the Sky Parks.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. No. So I was new to this game, and one of the players was just kind of being a butt to me for reasons of I want to be a butt, which, whatever. So I talked to the DM. I talked to our DM about it, and I was like, I'm having a problem with this player. What should I do? And he was like, well, I can talk to him for you, or you can talk to him. And I was like, well, I'll talk to him because that's what, good players are supposed to do. Like, you talk to your other players. I'm an adult. I can do that adult thing. And we're so off topic from the question that you asked.
I mean, I think I got my answer out of that, and I think it comes down to, and I'll ask for clarification here. You feel that you would not do as good of a job as you would want to do because you don't perceive yourself as organized.
Correct.
Is does that prevent you from running because you are afraid you will let your players down, or that you are afraid you will let yourself down?
It's more the players. Like, I don't feel like I can run a game well enough to keep people entertained. Like, I am entertaining. I have been brought in for many games doing like NPC characters and like character voices and stuff, but I've never like ran a game mainly because like my ducks are everywhere.
Do you need to have a lot of ducks for a one shot?
Probably not, but now I will say I have discovered I've come across a system called Troika. I would love I love Troika. I've played in three Troika games now. Troika is basically Terry Pratchett's Discworld and like Hitchhiker's Guide slammed together. It's really fun. It's a bunch of shorts. Like short little adventures, like 1-2 shot adventures. But I would probably feel comfortable running one of those maybe one day in the future, but I'm not there yet.
Thank you for answering the question. There's not a wrong answer to this question, and I don't mean to get too personal with it.
No, you're good.
One of the things that I would really like to do with the limited exposure that I get on the internet is grow the hobby of Dungeons and Dragons. And I don't think I'm going to do that by convincing more people to play.
So
because
you need more people,
I think so, because if I can take the people who know the game okay and have them be on the supply side of D&D instead of the demand side of D&D,
I have that problem.
which, I mean, maybe it's not a problem per se. I don't think you're a problem, but that doesn't mean that there's not a solution. Because I run into people all the time who say, Yeah, I mean, I want to play, but there's not a game near me. And you know what? There wasn't always a game near me. I made one. I recruited people from several different workplaces. I went around the apartment complex and got people to play with me. I ran a game. I literally went into a Discord server and said, okay, if you want to play D&D, message me when you can play, and I will pick 5 of you who can play when I can run, and we'll play together. And we did.
Yeah.
That campaign is the only campaign that I have run all the way to the end. And those people are still my friends today. They are still in the Misty Mountain Discord. There was one of those kids who I just didn't have time for, who was a problematic player, and I said, bye. But other than that, it was a great game. I made some lifelong friends, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't said, yo, I'm willing to do the thing that none of you motherfuckers are. So bring it on. I don't care if it's going to be a great time or a good time, but we're going to enjoy it. I'm going to do it. And if you don't want to be a part of it, you can stop. But I want to make new friends. This is what I want to do with my time. Let's fucking go.
Let's do this. I mean, after we wrap up here, I can happily message you about Troika. I think you would get a kick out of it. Troika is...
I like other systems.
It's a 2d6 system, which is real fun. It's super easy. It's a really good introductory system, in my opinion. If you want to delve into the world of tabletop gaming, Troika is not super rule heavy. All you need is 2d6s. Bam. Oh,
which camera is it?
You have a gold set?
Uh-huh.
Like the silver ones? Because I actually have the silver ones.
Yeah, the silver ones are like that holographic, lots of colors.
I bought them for my character Bo, which is my Sky Pirates character.
This one is straight up gold and purple.
That's super pretty.
And I really wanted to have both of them. Love these. They roll like shit for me, but I keep them anyway.
Mine roll great for me. But yeah, Troika's super fun. It's a great introductory game. And I will say it's like 80% roleplay.
Quickly responding to chat. Yes, Joelle, I've got her cranked as far as she can go. It's possible you might be able to hear her better if you go over to her, her Twitch channel. I'm not sure. If you type !Wasteland into the chat, you can go watch on her channel. Maybe give her a follow while you're there. She's probably the one most of you want to hear because you've heard me before. I will not mind the dip in viewership. Go give the one with the pink hair some love.
Awkward questions because I love D&D.
Let me type in that for everyone. Is it Wasteland or is it Waste?
Waste.
Oh, it was Wasteland. Yep.
Yeah,
there it is.
Wasteland.
I think that links to her Valentine's Day video for some reason, but you know, you can figure it out from there. You are internet people.
Weird.
I have. Thank you, Robin.
Too.
I mean, I'm not here to argue. Did we answer the thing? Were we still?
I answered the thing.
Yeah. Cool.
The thing that you asked me.
Cool. Your turn.
Oh! We're going back and forth now. Back and forth questioning.
I guess. Are you okay? Are you surviving over there?
I'm just laughing. I laugh a lot. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
A laughy person. I'm a nervous laugher.
No, am I making you nervous?
I get nervous about everything.
Given a few things that I know about you, I find that surprising. Nevertheless, it's fine. I appreciate people who laugh because then I feel funny and charming. So it's raising my self-esteem.
What it might be, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about what might be is the streaming through Discord itself. I think
Maybe.
that's making my mic quieter, which is weird. I don't know how that works, but like, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. Please
Normally
don't.
speaking, if I can hear you fine, so can they. Which is confusing to me why... I mean, I do have you cranked all the way up, but I'm hearing
Yeah.
you fine with cranked all the way up. Rob's charisma is at +10 when people are laughing. Pretty much. Real talk, it is my goal on meeting a new person or interacting with someone for the first time to make them laugh as soon as humanly possible. And that is not to, like, stroke my ego or anything. That is to convince myself...
Thank you, Robin.
Hey, thank you, man.
That scared the crap out of me.
Surprised me, too. It's for me to kind of set them at ease, and more importantly, to set me at ease, because if I can't make you laugh, I don't think you're enjoying me, and I wonder if I'm going to be able to enjoy you to a lesser extent.
That sounds really wrong. Can we, like, reword your phrasing? I'm joking. I'm joking.
Perhaps. I derive a lot of self-worth from being entertaining and amusing people. Because pudgy white guy with very little athletic ability. If I'm not funny, I've got nothing for you. So if I try to make you laugh as soon as I can.
Okay. Okay.
Because rarely can I impress you with my dungeon mastering skills before I can make you laugh. So.
False. I find you to be a very impressive DM.
Well, thanks.
I've only watched like 3 of your sessions, not gonna lie.
There will be more.
Sorry.
You are fine. Family members, personal friends have not watched 3 of my sessions. You're doing great.
Well, I felt like I needed to.
Hey, I'm just going to call you Rap. Instead of Random Asian Productions, I'm just going to reduce you to Rap. But I like Rap, so... Rap, thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it.
He's great. I don't know. I've said it. He's definitely an MVP here.
Not an RAP, but an MVP?
MVP.
Okay.
I actually have one last question for you.
Oof, okay.
Ooh, big moment. Big moment. For our newcomers. Sounded like I said cucumbers there, didn't it? But for our newcomers.
I might steal that.
You're welcome.
Hello, cucumbers.
Hello.
Delighted to have you here.
Do you have any advice? Now, this is what we call here in the Wastelands a soapbox moment. So anything as a DM that you have found is great, or anything really.
For people getting into playing, or for people getting into running?
Both. Since
Okay.
you are a player and a runner.
Yeah, not in the physical sense. Very little of that going on in my life.
I briskly walk. I'm not a runner. My knees can't handle it.
Yes, I was built for comfort, not speed.
So you're a dwarf.
Yeah, a 6'1" dwarf. For the players, I would say if you're new to this, and I would be surprised if you're in the chat and you're new to this. If you're watching this video, I would be surprised if you're new to this. I'll put it that way. But if you are, if somehow magically you have found this video looking for direction on how to become a player, and you've heard about this thing called D&D, and it is new and it seems weird, it is. And there's not really a way to sugarcoat about this. It is several people, usually peers and people who you might normally otherwise respect, or fellow adults who lead lives that are, I mean, let's face it, kind of boring most of the time, are all sitting around a table, and maybe they're wearing strange garments, maybe they're speaking in weird ways that you haven't heard them do before. Maybe they're saying things and entertained by things and suggesting actions that seem bizarre and using their imaginations, which is a thing that you were taught to suppress after you turned 12. It is a weird thing. And I got into D&D when I was 24. Not 24, hang on. Yeah, around about that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird, and it's awkward, and it's strange. But most of the things that we really enjoy kind of are, when you get down to it, if you really think about a board game, or a video game, or a movie, and you have to explain that to someone who hasn't participated in it before, I defy you to make it sound interesting. These are weird things that we do that are a lot of fun. And they're more fun as a group. And the sooner that you just kind of let yourself have that fun, the happier you will be. And it took me until I was beyond the target age audience for Dungeons and Dragons to even give it a shot. And if I could have gone back and done it sooner, if I could have done it when I was 18 and just got to college and was making a bunch of new friends and had a lot of time on my hands and had a great player base of fellow idiots to mine for potential players and dungeon masters, I would have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it says something that I've found something in my adult life that I'm spending most of my free time doing, that I'm kind of basing a career around at this point. And it's not because it is profitable. It is not because this was a career move that makes my parents proud. Although they love me and they will, they'll support whatever I do. It's not because I can go to the bar and lean over to the hottie next to me and say, hey, I'm a dungeon master on the internet. It is not for those reasons. It's because it's fucking fun. And give into it. And maybe it's not for you, but rarely do I have someone try it and dislike it.
Mm-hmm.
Normally the people who say they don't like it are the people that haven't tried it. So try it. And try when you try it.
Like
give in. Have as many beers as it takes to loosen you up. Do it with people that you love and trust, ideally, or strangers who don't know your real name or where you live and will never find you, and no one that you know will hear about it if you fuck up. But try it. That is the player advice. As much as it is advice, I encourage that.
Oh, it's actually really good advice. It's you want people to let loose and have fun and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. Whether or not it's D&D, I want people to let loose and have fun. But D&D is my favorite way, and I think it could be yours if you're willing to embarrass yourself a little bit. I've made a profession out of embarrassing myself. If you the first session I ran on Twitch, if you went and back and watched that, I don't know if the shaking comes through on camera, but the moment that I started speaking as a sheep, I knew I was never going to hit the big time, but I had fun with it. And I enjoyed every second of it.
You never know where this is going to go. What does Bilbo always say? You don't leave the house, or how does it go? How does his quote go?
Uh-oh.
Have an adventure, you have to put your foot out of the door and let the road take you.
That sounds close enough to right. If my brother were here, he would have it out.
Yeah, I can't. I don't
like
have
that.
it recalled like instant memory, but something along those lines.
My brother can quote a lot of Lord of the Rings. He got into the desire to make films by watching the Lord of the Rings documentaries. I can quote the Lord of the Rings documentaries better than I can quote the movies because he watched them so fucking much.
That's fantastic.
If anybody wants to talk about Kino Das Bang Bang Boom Boom 1970, Shanghai Kabiyaisen Diese Not Willkommen 2004, we'll talk. That is an Easter egg on the Return of the King extended edition DVDs, if you know how to find it, where Dominic Monaghan pranks Elijah Wood pretending to be an interviewer, a German interviewer on a German show, and the crew helped him do it for Dom's birthday. And he asks him such awkward questions. You can probably find it on the internet with a Google search now, if you can fucking spell it.
Yeah, I don't think I could spell that correctly.
I'll try and find a link and I'll send it to you if you'll remind me, because it is...
That sounds fantastic.
I'm sure there are better pranks, but there's probably not been a prank with that good of a budget involving that big of celebrities that was that accessible to the random person. As far as advice to dungeon masters,
yes. Oh, shit's getting serious. The glasses came off.
Well, the glasses are just blue light glasses because I spend my whole day staring at screens. I don't actually need them to see. In fact, they're very uncomfortable to wear with the headphones. So they'll probably go back on for Elden Ring, but I'll take them now to get real with you. Let me turn my chair around and sit backwards like a cool youth pastor.
Oh,
just kidding. No, I can't do that in a swivel chair.
Yeah.
I've had my share of... Yes, there are. I have lots of advice for dungeon masters, and I have a YouTube channel that I think I've put some work into making. I'm sorry for a little poor video quality and the stuff from even 3 months ago. I learn fast. They get better, I promise. And some of my best DM advice I got out there pretty quickly. Some of it is... There's like a 5-minute DM encouragement video that was the first video that I put out there, which is just before you run your first session, run to the bathroom for 5 minutes, say you've got to take a dump, and watch this video. And just... I think I actually say that in the video, too. Is just some quick little last-minute tips and encouragement to let you know that you've got this and that nobody cares as much as you do, whether you do a great job or an okay job, that everybody just came to the table to have fun. And as long as you don't get in their way, you're going to have a great time and people are going to enjoy it and they're going to ask you to do it again, probably sooner than you think you are able to. And that's a good thing. If I have to give advice beyond the things that are in that video, which are things like take notes, listen when your players talk, and such as that, I would say the thing that has helped me the most is what I name things in my world. It used to frustrate me that I would put in so much work into creating a cool world filled with cool things for my players to interact with. I had a pantheon of gods. I had 7 countries, and a dozen kingdoms cost those 7 countries. And they each had kings and queens and dignitaries and subdivisions of places. And there was the tavern and the tavern wench and the tavern wench's 3 children. And I couldn't get anybody to remember any of it in roleplay. And I would have trouble remembering it in roleplay. And even when my characters asked, who was that? I want to talk to that lady from the bar the other day who gave us the tip about the man in the red cloak. And I don't remember her name. What was her name? I wouldn't remember. Because it was some elvish-sounding name that was a combination of 6 syllables that were all as breathy as possible. Because breathy is the way that you name elves in my head. And I got tired of that. I got tired of me not remembering, and I got tired of my players not remembering.
Mm-hmm.
So I started naming things simply and ripping off world history and sometimes other works of fiction if something resembled that archetype closely enough. For instance, everybody who plays in my world, my homebrew world, where everything is made up and nobody knows anything about my world except me. I mean, no one has ever read a book about the history of my world. No one has ever, played a video game through my world where they meet interesting NPCs and go to cool places. Mm-hmm. But if I tell you that there is a character in my world named Gilgamesh, what do you think was up with that guy?
That he doesn't belong?
In some ways.
Be like, yo, you have a really interesting name. What's the story?
What I have is there was one time in all of history that the entire world was united under a single person's rule. And that was a human who was divinely empowered to do that particular task. And his reign lasted for the length of his human lifetime. He established the common language so that all races from all creeds and from all areas of the world could speak to one another. He lived in this enormous golden ziggurat on his own island, and people would go there and seek him out for his wisdom and to handle affairs of state, and he would occasionally deign to walk among the masses, and was the wealthiest man ever, and the wisest man ever, and the largest empire of all of mankind, and that motherfucker's name is Gilgamesh. And when you tell everybody about the god king Gilgamesh, who once united all peoples, no one comes back and asks me the next session, what was that god king guy's name? Because it's goddamn Gilgamesh, and we have something that we tie to that in our minds. If I take you to a city, and I describe that city to you, and I talked about how there are 3 different rivers coming down from the mountain range that all join at this single point into a much larger river, which goes down to feed the plantations in the southern lands, and that there is an enormous bridge across this point of where the 3 rivers meet, and the town is built on either side, and the name of that town is 3 Rivers Ford. No one comes back to me later and asks, what was the name of that town? How many rivers met there?
Automatically no, because it's 3 rivers.
Yeah, because you are describing while you are storytelling, and you are giving them something to latch onto. If I tell you that there's a continent named North Shore, what do you think that continent is like? Where do you think it's located on the map? How do you think you would get there?
It's on the southern shore, isn't it?
Right.
Gotta be.
And, you can subvert the trope. There is in the real world, there's a large continent that is covered in ice and snow that is called Greenland. Place is not green. It is named ironically. And there is a lovely little island out there that is gorgeous and scenic and verdant, and they call it Iceland. And it seems like those should be flipped, but you remember them because they are descriptive and somewhat ironic. Mm-hmm. And, there is a town in the real world, there's the town of Buffalo. There's the town of Little Rock. There's the town of Jacksonville, named after a hero in a war we probably won't talk about. But it tells you a little bit about the world. You associate it with something. You are building the world, and you are describing the world, and you are doing so with very simple, small words that everybody can understand. Mm-hmm. And it will help you remember it, and it will help it roll off of your players' tongues in roleplay. They won't have to remember that you named your goddess Sibris Edelon if you identify her as the Huntress. She's the Huntress. I wonder what she's responsible for, or what kind of people like her. And
it's a artist, right?
Yeah, and popular fiction does this all the time. The Witcher, hugely popular before and after the Netflix series. You know what they call the world that The Witcher is set in? The Continent.
Do they really?
Yes. It is just called The Continent.
That's fantastic.
Lord of the Rings, one of the most famous fantasy worlds ever created, is called Middle Earth.
Yeah.
It's
super
basically Midgard. Same words, same meaning. Elden Ring. I'm gonna be playing Elden Ring tonight. What is the
I'm
land
excited for
called?
that.
What is the land called in Elden Ring? The Lands Between.
Is it really?
Yes!
Is it really that simple?
Yes!
That's fantastic.
You are allowed to be that simple. People making tons more money than you are getting paid to come up with the continent and the lands between. Westeros? The land in the fucking west. Come on! We don't have to overcomplicate this. Why do you want to name your forest Aldranger, which is a place in my world? No one calls it Aldranger. They call it the Black Wood. I just have Aldranger in there in case some elf wants to be pretentious. I'm sorry, that actually got soapboxy. Like, I raised my voice and everything.
Yeah, no, but that's what those moments are for. That's what that question is for. It's designed to raise emotion, so I get the most honest answer out of you.
I'm just excited by the fact that one of the hardest things that people think is out there in D&D, one of the most prohibitive things in Dungeons and Dragons is world building. And it is really hella simple. I have named the continents in my world. One of them is named Ine, and it is it's spelled so different though. And it is the hardest one to remember for anybody, because the other places are Rex Terra, which Rex, king, Terra, land. It's the land of kings. I have North Shore. I have South March. I have Fey Haven. Guess who lives there? Yeah. I have the Beastlands.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Sabine Desert. I mean, you remember Sabine, but it's the desert. People don't say, you're going to the Sabine Desert. They say, oh, you're going to the desert? Oh, the one big desert that's in Rob's world? The one that we all know about and never go to? That desert. Okay. It's so much simpler. You're making so much work for yourself that, is it authentic? Sure. But, I mean, as human beings, we lump all of the British Isles into the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
We lump all of the Orient into the Far East. We lump all of the South American and North American countries into North and South America. We make it easy on ourselves because guess what? We have a limited number of brain cells. And so do the people, the real fake people in your D&D world. They're dumb as shit too. They can't be bothered to pronounce that 6-syllable elven name. They'll just call it the Black Wood, okay? Because it's black and dark and it's woods.
Good insight. Good insight. I'm glad that, okay, gonna be honest. I know that is a stressful question, but it is designed to be stressful. So thank you very much for that.
Sure.
Got some real emotion. You need a break. You want some water?
I'll have a sip of whiskey. I'll do that.
I'm gonna have some water.
Has anyone ever asked you that question?
Not that question in particular, but I am notorious for having soapbox moments. That's why soapbox moments has actually become a thing.
Well, I mean, genuinely, I have not been a player as much as you, and you've been playing for twice as long as I've been DMing or playing. So if you could go back and talk to little Misfit and tell her, hey, you're going to be enjoying this hobby for a long time. You'll save yourself a bunch of sweat and heartache if you just did this one thing from the get-go. What might that thing be?
Letting people tell me how to build and run my own character.
Hmm.
When I first got into D&D, because I was new, I was really scared that I was gonna fuck up. Like I was that kid. I was terrified of messing up because my dad put a lot of pressure on me as a child to not mess up.
Hmm.
Um, so anything new I did, I was terrified of not like that I wasn't gonna be good enough, so that I was gonna fuck up. And so I let people dictate how I wanted to do and how I wanted to play my character because I was afraid that I was gonna fuck up. So, um, anything like if I could go back and tell little me to not be afraid of, it would be mess up, make mistakes. It's okay. You'll learn from them. Um, you're new. Like forgive yourself for making those mistakes. No one's gonna be mad at you forever. They're not gonna hate you forever just because you didn't use bardic inspiration correctly the first time you've ever played a bard. Like no, like calm down. It's okay. And that right there is probably like the biggest thing that I wish I like had learned sooner, because when I finally gained confidence as a player, I was able to tell those people, the same people, because it was really hard to find a new group, um to not like backseat my character.
Hmm.
Like so learning that was really hard, but now that I have it, I'm very happy to be like, no, this is my character and you can eat a bag of dicks.
But could you go back to 18-year-old Rob and tell him that, regardless of D&D, just that it's okay to mess up sometimes?
Fuck. I I need to go back to like 25-year-old me and
Hmm.
tell 25-year-old me that it's okay to mess up.
Oh
That's been a
gosh.
hard learning lesson that D&D has actually taught me. Is it is okay to mess up. Like D&D is the sole reason why I'm like I'm not afraid to mess up anymore because I'm new and I'm learning something. I know. Really introspective.
I mean, yeah.
Messing up is okay, everyone. It is okay to mess up. You are allowed to mess up.
I yeah, there's been a lot of, shall we call them, growing and learning opportunities
Mm-hmm.
throughout my life. And if I could have looked at them in the moment and seen them
Mm-hmm.
for what they would eventually be, which is growing and learning opportunities, I would have been better off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm like you. I don't necessarily know that it was my parents' fault. Uh,
Oh, I 100% know it's mine.
I believe
Here.
you. In my case, I think it's just something that I put in myself from God knows where. But yeah, I have a pressure. I feel a pressure to excel and to succeed and to take charge and to entertain and to be responsible for others in more ways than a human should probably healthily be.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't need to always do that.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. We're making it. Oh, the video quality came back. Yay! Let's see you
Huzzah!
again.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
Yeah,
fine.
my
Uh,
internet's dumb. You know what's
I'm
worse? It's like I'm actually hardwired in.
really.
Yeah, that's how bad the internet is here. Like I hate Florida for having a monopoly on the internet.
I can't stream from home because the
Ooh.
internet is so bad where I live. Whenever I stream, here's a peek behind the curtain for everybody. I drive from my house it's only 15 minutes, but I drive 15 minutes to a crappy rundown hair salon that is so crappy that no one even charges me to be here. And I wouldn't pay to be here. It is so crappy. That has no central heating and air, that
Oh
has
no.
no overhead lighting. The light here I have brought in. It has no running water. It has
Mm-hmm.
holes for bugs and mice to get in, which thankfully I used to be a pest control guy, so I can kind of mitigate that. And that's where I do all the streaming from, because this is the closest place that I can get internet to do the streaming. If I had to do it from home, I'd be out of a job, because it can't handle crap. I get less than 100 megabytes up at home and less than 10 down, and I pay the same price for that there that I do here for 100 down and less than, like, still less than 3 up, which is the same price I paid in Birmingham, the city, to get 300 down and 50 up.
Oh, crap.
So, yeah, it's lousy. But if one of these days I take down my sound wall and I take down the green screen that's behind it, you will see old 80s hair salon wallpaper that is chipping and grody and weird colors. And, yeah. So we're probably not going to do that. But I feel you on the bad internet. At home, I can run one internet device doing one task. And it better be a simple task at a time. If my TV is on, my computer can't be on. If my phone is connected to the Wi-Fi, my computer and my TV better not be on.
Oh my lord, that's bad.
It's bad.
So I don't feel so bad bitching about mine. It's pretty bad, but like, it's not that bad. And it's probably worse because my roommate is home at the moment.
Oh, see, Rap is unhappy with better than what I'm getting in the good place.
My upload is like 180-ish. My upload is 13. Yeah, my upload's really like bad as well. I don't understand that part.
Tape player, I am not Tolkien. I do not spend my free time making up pretend languages for fun. That was his shtick. That is not mine. I have a video on our channel. Let me see. I can throw it up here. Since you are a new DM, I really invite you to go check out our YouTube channel. The stuff that I'm talking about here for the soapbox is in the video that has location on the thumbnail. And if you scroll back through our catalog to find the DM encouragement video that says new DM, you got this, with a shorter bearded me doing this face.
You do that face a lot. No, it's standard face. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's marketable.
My standard face is RBF, Rob bitch face. That's about all I got. But, yeah, let's see. Been trying to convince yourself mixing up is okay for years. I hope it eventually takes. It has been a struggle for me. In much more consequential areas than D&D, I tell you what.
Like, when I had a realization that I should be that forgiving to myself in everything, not just D&D, I was like, oh, shit. My life is going to become so much easier.
Robin Taylor got into D&D in high school, but only in some friends play this. First played like days before I turned 29. I mean, it's never too late. I mean, if I discovered D&D this year instead of when I was 24, I would still gung-ho it, full send. Played a few games jumping between 5e and Star Wars Edge of the Empire. Okay, the Fantasy Flight Star Wars games are pretty fun. The dice confuse the shit out of me, but I love the mechanics that are built into them to progress the story. That is something that D&D doesn't do for you. You have to interpret the dice into how they tell the story. The Fantasy Flight Star Wars games kind of assist you more in that area, and I'm a fan of that. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like the idea that I could play a Force-sensitive race and not be a Force user, so I just played a droid and just throw that out the window. If I might not get it, I'd rather just not get it from the get-go and be fine with that. takes filmmaking notes. The dice are very confusing starting off. Yep. I was fortunate when I played my droid to have a game master who understood them and cared about them a lot more than I did, so that I could just enjoy the game. And that's the dungeon master I try to be, to know enough about the rules, which you don't have to be that dungeon master, let me be clear. I'm just a nerd for this shit. Like, everybody has something that they care about and are passionate about and studies in their free time and will go and watch YouTube videos about and go and read books about and try to better themselves at. That's dungeon mastering for me. You don't have to be like me to be a dungeon master. Mm-hmm. But I am, so I especially love running for and playing alongside people who are new to the game and showing them how much fun this game can be. And they don't have to worry about the rules, because someone at the table knows them, and that someone is me. And you don't have to worry about it. You just tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you how you can do it, how many turns it will take, what dice you need to roll, and how much damage it'll do, and how many people it can affect. Don't worry about it. Just have fun.
I feel that. Wow, my glasses are really crooked. There we go. I didn't realize they were like...
Oh.
Big stretch. Are you excited for gaming tonight? Are you ready? Are you prepared?
So, I started up Elden Ring yesterday. I didn't realize that me and my brother were talking about it. I just kind of took his word for it. He said that it dropped today. It actually dropped today on consoles. It was out yesterday on PC.
Oh.
So I booted it up.
PC?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I spent $3,000 on a PC that can edit videos and render stuff for work, and it wiped me out, and I'm still financially recovering. But this was what I bought instead of a PS5, so this is what I'm paying. This is what I'm playing everything on for the foreseeable future, and it's what I stream from, so it only makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm glad I have it, Rap, but let's not do this again for another God knows how many years. Rimforge, thank you for the subscription. That means a lot. I've talked so much, it's kind of difficult to keep talking sometimes.
No, it's totally okay.
The subscriptions and followers on this channel, whether or not you are paying for it, whether or not you're subscribed with Prime or whatever you do, this basically justifies my position. And it shows my boss that having me doing this kind of thing is beneficial for the company, and that I am doing something for the community, because, he's never going to tune into these streams, but he'll check the numbers. And if I have more subscribers than I did last week, it's a good thing, and it validates me being here, and I'm really enjoying doing this. So I really appreciate folks like Grimforge and Rap who just subscribed to the channel for the first time. Welcome to the party, man. Pun intended. D&D, it's a D&D pun. There you go, helping with the PC debt. I appreciate it very much. My boss has been very kind in paying for different things that I need to do this job, like my second webcam and the lights and whatnot. There are some things, though, that I need regardless, and if I were to one day get fired, I would want to keep to continue doing stuff like this for all of you. And that's stuff like my acoustic wall, my microphone, my personal computer, and the like. So it really does help that more than half of the things that I use for my job have come out of my own pocket, and I feel that's fair. You need to be invested in your job in some way or another. But I do appreciate the help very much. As someone who is currently 25 years old, I thankfully have an understanding of to continually give myself permission to fail. Year 25's lesson seems to be about learning how to properly speak up and not downgrade myself in front of others. I know I'm great, you are, but not so great in being the ultimate hype man for myself. Joel, if you ever need a hype man, you know how to get a hold of me. You are a pretty cool, tiny enough that you exemplify the 10 pounds of cool in a 5-pound bucket idiom. So holla at me. I hope we get to see each other at a con again soon. I'm going to be working at a couple. Speaking of which, I'm going to Planet Comic Con. Anybody out Western way? I'm going to be working the Misty Mountains booth.
But that's cool.
Yeah, I don't go to conventions just for fun, because I have this to do, and this takes time and requires me to be in front of a computer to do it as well as I want to do it. But occasionally I get to go out into the wide world, and I'll get a plane ticket to go and work a convention and sell dice to people and shake hands and kiss babies, except not because COVID. And Planet Comic-Con will be one of my next opportunities to do that, and I know some members of the community are out there, and I'm looking forward to saying hey.
Dang. I will be going to just going for a day to dick off and have fun and probably buy more dice. To MegaCon here in Orlando.
Oh, cool.
So.
I don't know if MCC will be at that one, but if they are, there are members of our Discord who are the people who work at the show. So if you ever see a Misty Mountain Gaming booth at your local comic or anime or video game convention, it is a name that you'll recognize from the Discord. I think I've been confirmed for certified precocious cinnamon roll by the convention community. I have never been declared a precocious anything, so good on you, Joel. Much less a cinnamon roll.
The sweetest of cinnamon rolls.
I don't feel like I really answered your question. Yes, I played a little bit of Elden Ring yesterday to test the computer and see if things would work. And I didn't run around. I didn't do my normal like video game thing where I kind of explore everything and see everything and whatnot. I kind of just ran until I found a boss and tried to beat them and tried to break some of the muscle memory because I've been playing Bloodborne and Dark Souls and other From Software games to get ready for Elden Ring. And the buttons are different. And I'm probably going to struggle. I was trying to open a chest on a bridge. And the open chest button is what in every other Souls game is the jump button. So I jumped over the chest, over the bridge, and fell to my death. So there's probably going to be some of that. And I'm going to be trying to play in a different way. I always approach the Souls games as a tanky strength boy, like the equivalent of a fighter in D&D. It's like, I know there's spells, I know there's pyromancy, I know there's miracles, I don't fucking care. Give me a sword, make it as big as possible, dress me up in fancy lad armor, and send me directly face first into the fray, and I will be happy. And I'm going to try and play differently from that, and we're going to see in front of a dozen internet people if that will work. My bet is no, but it could possibly be entertaining. And the idea, too, from the very first Dark Souls game, I played it with my brother. Dark Souls 2, I played with my brother and my fiance and my buddy. Dark Souls 3, my buddy and my fiance brought their PCs into my bedroom. And anytime that none of us were at work, we were all in that bedroom playing in like a LAN party of Dark Souls 3. Bloodborne,
Hear about it anymore.
I had to play alone. Sekiro, I briefly had a dalliance with before I lost the PS4 in the divorce. But the Souls games are all like group community experiences for me. And several of my friends and several members of the Misty Mountain streaming community have Elden Ring. So I'm going to be setting up a group password so that we can tell when other friends of ours are online and identify each other from the masses of people who are doubtlessly playing Elden Ring this weekend. And hoping that I can get some people in there to join me for some jolly cooperation. Or perhaps come in and invade me and ruin my day. It's all part of the fun.
That's a lot of trust.
You know,
A lot of trust.
the point, much like in D&D, the point of the game is to have fun. It's not necessarily to succeed.
Well, that's actually why I don't play video games.
Yeah.
Here soon, I'm going to be doing my first subscriber-only video game jamboree. I I haven't played a video game since I was in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna be real fun and probably really, really bad, but it's gonna be funny. I do have a code though. I'm not gonna play a game that will just straight out stress me out.
See, I had to leave. I used to love MOBAs, like League of Legends and Smite and whatnot. People care so much about those games
So
that
freaking much.
they will, if I underperform, I will be derided and insulted. And I go into those games and I mute everyone. And then I realized that by doing so, I'm doing myself a disservice, I'm doing my team a disservice, and I'm not having that much fun without interacting with other people, and I don't want to interact with those people, so I just gave up on those games. So a lot of the games that I play are games where I can play them alone. Like this last 2 weeks, I've been playing through the Mass Effect series for the first time. Playing through Skyrim has been a bunch of fun. The Dark Souls games has been a lot of fun. Hades is a lot of fun. But the games that I like best are games like Jackbox that you can play from your phone and
I love Jackbox.
play with other idiots. You know, we play that on the stream fairly often. If you want in, you need to message me. If you haven't caught one of our Jackbox streams,
I've caught one once, but there was actually the first time you played Jackbox. A group of friends of mine had messaged me, like a bunch of my D&D friends, and they messaged me and they were like, "Hey, we're doing a in-character Jackbox night." And I was like,
Lord,
I'm in.
that is a subtle dream of mine, and I think World Anvil advertised something like this at some point. I don't know that I ever figured it out, but I would love to do it. Is to have a D&D game that people care about enough, even if it's just the players, to go and set up dummy Twitter accounts as their players and like live tweet the D&D games and comment on one another's tweets in character as their characters and message back and forth.
Oh my god.
Like, forget forum roleplay. I want it to be tweets and DMs, baby.
Like,
let's go.
Started me on Twitch was the fact that I love my character Bo so much. Like for my Sky Pirates game, she's easily become my favorite character, like hands down favorite character. And because she's a bard, like I guess her bardicness like imbued into me, and I was like, I'm gonna start a Twitch and I'm gonna fucking talk about this game because I fucking want to. And I was like, before I knew what I was doing, I felt like my character had like really just taken over me, and I was like, whoa, what? All right, we're doing this.
That's not. Bards are my favorite class, by the way, and
I love bards.
I think. I think it's an objective opinion. Like I don't think any class is just as good as the bard. Like, favoritism aside, they're just better. Like, and so many people disagree, and I don't know how. They're just so good.
My favorites are bard and druid.
I thought we was about to be soul sisters there.
We not soul sisters?
Bards and rogues, and I'll tell you why.
Bo, my Sky Pirates game, is a rogue bard. She is just the ultimate skill junkie who can't do shit because I always roll very poorly.
That is why, too, is because attacking, defending, smiting, Eldritch Blast, they only come up in combat. You know what comes up way more often than combat? Fucking skill rolls. You know what? I like heist movies. I like the A-Team. I like specialists. And when you come to a bard or a rogue, they get to add a bigger number to the thing that they want to be good at than anybody else. Sometimes literally more than twice as big as the numbers that anybody else gets to add. And bards get to add like half that number to everything, regardless of whether they're good at it or not. Yep. And I like being the guy that's good at stuff. I want you to have to come to me when you want to get shit done. Maybe you have to stand between me and the bad guy when it comes to a fight, but I'm going to pick your ass up. I'm going to make sure that you're going to do the thing that you're good at, and then I'm going to fucking carry your ass when initiative is over.
Uh-huh. I have 4 separate proficiency bonuses as bow. 4.
Yeah. Love
And
it.
I'm getting another one because we're about to hit level 8, and I'm getting another proficiency.
Plus,
So
bards are the only class that when you start the game, every other class says, pick among these 5 options on this list which 2 things you would like to be good at, because we're pigeonholing your ass into a stereotype that we think druids should act like. Whereas bards, pick 3. Just go nuts. Do whatever. You're good at anything you want to be good at. Go.
I was making her, and I was like, what do you mean I get 3? I was prepared for the 2, but that third one fucking threw me for a wild card. I was like,
It's like,
what?
and
I get a third?
Third one from what list? Oh, the whole list. Like the whole list? Okay, so you're telling me, wait a minute. So I can be good at animal handling, history, and sleight of hand, and you're okay with that. Okay.
Good. Yeah, like, it's ridiculous. I love Bo. She's the reason that all of this has even started.
Proof Society has it wrong in placing a hierarchy towards book smart over street smarts. I'm not sure particularly what that was in reference to, but I don't think I disagree.
Agree either.
Streetwise used to be a skill in older editions of D&D.
Yep.
I have
I've been a streetwise character many a time.
That is, it would be so easy to expand the list of D&D skills to include so many things.
Mm-hmm.
But I have, in my most recent homebrew game, I told everyone, okay, all of your characters are going to be able to get 1 more proficiency than their class and background entitle them to.
Oh, you generous.
And if you want it to be, it's because I'm adding Streetwise as a skill.
Oh. Okay.
And if you want it to go in Streetwise, you can. If you don't want it to be in Streetwise, you can't. But I'm not going to add a new skill and tell you you can't be proficient in it. So everybody gets an extra 1.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a fun bit of DMing.
Because what else would Streetwise be? Like,
I don't know. I don't know.
You know?
How do you quantify that into
Like, is it?
but streetwise?
There's not knowledge local, like there is in Pathfinder. There's. Go.
Sorry, this is one of those like weird rants that I wish.
Go, girl, go.
Oh, we're gonna rant. We're just gonna rant away. Why don't rangers have urban for an environment type? Why is there not an urban?
I've heard that question asked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of with you. There is, I think they got so obsessed because this is not a term I've heard anywhere else, but there's a thought of like half classes in subclasses. Like the Eldritch Knight is half fighter, half wizard. But when you come to the classes themselves, there are half classes, right? Like there's the fighter and there's the cleric, and then somewhere in between is the paladin. There's the fighter and there's the druid, and somewhere in between is the ranger. There's the rogue and the wizard, and somewhere in between is the bard. You know? And there's not an urban druid either. Because there's not an urban druid, they're like, oh, well, if there's not enough nature in the city, I guess that the druids and the rangers just stop working somehow. Like, they get a constant headache, like a migraine whenever they're in the city and the streets. And even though there's rats and dogs and pigeons, a ranger with a pigeon familiar, or sounds like an urban druid to me. Or on a coastal city, if it's a fucking seagull. It's like, it was around. And we became friends.
Well, like, I mean, I know if you take the, I think it's street urchin. So I know if you take the background street urchin, you actually get a little mouse as a pet, which is cute.
That's true.
But
There isn't a high seas ranger either,
Nope.
is there? Or a
Nope.
druid, really.
Nope. They just tell, like, it's either go pirate if you want to be high seas, or
A Circle of Tides druid would be a fun.
that would be dope.
Maybe that's my next homebrew project. I have made subclasses before. One of my first projects for Misty Mountain Gaming, before I was hired on full time, was to write them a Viking inspired supplement with enemies and subclasses and Viking lore and how it related to D&D, and I did a lot of that stuff, and it wound up being mostly a Norse mythology book with some D&D 5e stuff sprinkled in. But I'm really proud of the Shield Maiden subclass that I made. And it's a fighter subclass. And it was good, and it was balanced at the time, and then they came out with, a few source books that just, like, skewed the power curve a little bit, and now I wonder if anyone would want to play it because it might be a little behind the power creep. But hey, I still would love someone to let me play it in their game. I'd have fun.
Sounds super dope. I know I have a friend who she's playing a Pathfinder game, and she's playing a Shield Maiden in Pathfinder, but it's just kind of this wonky homebrewed thing.
Oh, I mean, that's what mine is, except I'm a nerd for this shit, and it's not that wonky.
Yeah, like it's pretty wonky in their story of it, but like, or at least from what I understand, I'm not playing in that game. But yeah, she was like, there's no Shield Maiden in anything, so I just kind of had to make it up on the fly.
Well, if you're interested in seeing it, much less if your friend is interested in seeing it, it's not yet being sold on the website. That is an eventual goal that's been about a year in it not being published because we haven't got the art for it. But I'd happily send it to you or to them and see what they think. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
I'd like to take a look at it. That sounds cool. I know here eventually, one of my dream characters is to play a goblin barbarian.
Yeah.
Named Ozana.
Naming the characters is so fucking hard for me.
Actually the name is what birthed the character in this instance. My boyfriend and I, when he was moving here from California, we passed through Ozana, Texas, and I saw the name and I said it in the weirdest way possible. It was like, Ozana, and like cocked my head back and it said it real loud, and he was like, you sound like a goblin. And I was like, that's it, I'm making the character. Goblin barbarian named Ozana. So this is a future character. I don't know when I'm gonna make her, but I'm gonna make her.
Well, I'm really enjoying this. I'm kind of sorry that I'm gonna have to put a stop to it because
you have games to go play.
Yeah, and I've got to do things between now and the games that don't require me being in front of a camera, so that I can be in front of a camera longer in the future. Before I say my stuff, do you want to remind anybody on my channel where they can find you, where they should follow you, what you do, and who you are?
I am WastelandGirl. Hi. I go by Misfit because I'm kind of a misfit. You can follow me here on Twitch at WastelandGirl. It's really easy to find. Like, I'm super easy to find. Or the other place that I'm most active would be my Discord server, which is WastelandGirl Hangouts. It's actually, I think it's synced with Hey, Random, can you put my Discord in here, please, and thank you? Wait, I got a fucking button for that. On Stream Deck.
Somebody copy that into my chat, if you would, please. Just for the sake of anyone here.
I make costumes, I paint I do basically anything that's art related.
Thank you, Rap.
A day that I call Lurkin' Work. So it is literally a very chill, lo-fi music playing in the background stream where you can just lurk and get your work done while I work. super low stress stream, and it's probably my most popular stream, to be honest. But yeah, other than that, you can follow me on Instagram. Check out all the costumes that I make and all the weird crap that I do, and I talk about a lot of D&D.
That thing we like.
That thing we do.
Joelle says, "Wonderful to meet you." She's
you.
she's one of our erstwhile convention workers. Love her. If you ever go to a Misty Mountain Gaming booth and almost can't see the person behind the table because of the height difference, that's Joelle, and she is lovely.
People like that, or another person like that.
She will talk your ear off about D&D in a good way.
Yeah.
There are people who will talk your ear off in D&D in a bad way, and she's not one of them.
I love
that. For my sake, I am Rob. I go by the D&D Wannabe online. Wannabes, of course, being someone who is aspirational, someone who studies and tries hard to be something that they're not, and that is me when it comes to D&D. Whether it be on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, it is all the D&D Wannabe. I work for Misty Mountain Gaming, and I run this Twitch channel, Misty Mountain Streaming. If you're watching on Misfit's channel, I hope you come over and give us a try. Thank you to those of you that already have.
We're also gonna raid you.
Yes, please do that. I'm gonna
raid you.
I'm gonna have to kill my stream so that I can change the Twitch info before I start the Elden Ring stream. But I will be doing that next. We stream 3 times a week, normally speaking. Misty Mountain Mondays is usually me being a dungeon master at 7 Central running D&D. Wednesday nights, starting this week, are going to be D&D, where I get to be a player in a game run by fellow members of the Misty Mountain Gaming community, and far more talented and attractive people than me will be featuring on the screen. Come to check them out, and stay to check them out, but I will also be there. And then typically on Friday nights, we do a gaming stream. Like tonight, I'm going to be celebrating the launch of Elden Ring. This week is going to be especially eventful because for the next 8 days, starting tonight, from this Friday until next Friday, I'm going to be streaming Elden Ring at some point during the day.
Running a subathon during that?
I'm not. That would have probably been a good idea. Maybe I'll set that up tomorrow.
You're welcome.
If you want to know what times those are, it's all over our social media. I just posted all of our social media links in the chat. There's a link tree. Go and follow us on everything. Next week, we have 3 D&D sessions. We have the return. Yeah, on Monday, we have the return to the Rimehold Ritual, our continuing D&D campaign that I run. And Tuesday night, we have a one-shot featuring some brand new faces to the channel. In a one-shot inspired by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, called Sewer Surfers. And yeah, right? 90s kid in me is freaking out. And Wednesday night, I will be the player in a brand new first ever episode of The Wild Beyond the Witchlight published D&D adventure. We are starting off with Campaign 1. If you're nervous about jumping into a campaign somewhere in the middle, Wednesday will be a great opportunity to start fresh from the beginning. Yeah, all of that I am excited about. And Elden Ring is going to start here in about 10 minutes after I take a bio break and shut the chat down. We will be right back for me to continue talking and exploring a brand new From Software world that I can barely contain my excitement about. I've watched as few spoilers as I can, as few walkthroughs and playthroughs. A few people have told me some stuff. I've shut them up as quickly as possible. I know very little. So you will get a pretty sincere blind playthrough from me, and maybe you can come and help me out and join me in my adventure and run alongside me at preventing me from riding around on torrent, because apparently that's a thing in co-op. Let's see. Gaming stream, gotta go to bed. Good night, Rap. I am so excited as well, Joelle. Please join me for what you can. I'm so delighted that you are here and paying attention to us now. I love it when the people who are interfacing with the community in person, which is something that I don't often get to do, know of this channel and like this channel and are talking about this channel, because I would rather have the grassroots campaign than the internet advertising that is part of my job. Thanks. Someone said hi recently, by the way. Who was that? Zach. Hey, I'm glad that you could join us. Late though it be, Zach. Elden Ring's coming. Hope you come and join us for that. If I was an ice cream flavor, what would I be? My relationship history says Rocky Road, but in my heart, I'm a butter pecan.
Me as a butter pecan.
Little southern and not for everyone.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely have that vibe.
Grimforge, pumped to watch. Yeah. We're gonna stop so I can empty the bladder and come back as soon as possible. The stream will end on my end, and we'll be back almost immediately once I update the Twitch info. Hey, Misfit, thank you for talking to me. This was super fun, and thank you for staying later than you intended to continue doing it. I appreciate that.
Thank you. It was really, that's why I like to conduct these as a casual conversation versus like a strict interview, because I want them to be fun. This is something that I will be doing pretty regularly now, once I work out all my hiccups. So
you've already done a collaborative stream with Rifle Stud, who's going to be our Wednesday night dungeon master. We've taken up playing some like party games on stream when there's not D&D going on, or we don't have an Elden Ring launch to celebrate. Let me know if you want in on that stuff, just to kind of fart around on the internet and enjoy one another and chill, you know.
I try to be active on social media, but I'm pretty bad about it, to be honest.
You updated your Instagram profile picture,
Yes,
which is
that is
more than I've done in God knows how long.
The only place that I'm super active. Like I try really hard to be active in like all the different Discord communities, and I just fail. I'm a lurker at heart.
I'm only a wallflower at social events, rarely on the internet.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm like super outgoing at social events, but on the internet, like I'm super duper just awkward and get weird, and like I'm just gonna hang back here and watch.
Let's see. Good night, Rap. Good night. Yep. Good night. Enjoy the game. Thank you. I will. Bye, Joelle, and good night to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see some of you very soon, and until next time. Farewell, and Godspeed, friends and adventurers. See you soon.
All right, thank you.